Good evening, all. The Town of Los Gatos Planning Commission meeting of July 24, 2024 is now called to order. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Janoff, would you please lead us?
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. As we begin tonight, the Planning Commission conducts this meeting. We encourage active participation by the public, which is essential to the important work of the Planning Commission. Public input is very much welcomed and is always considered. During our meeting tonight, there are two opportunities for members of the public to participate. First, during the verbal communications period, an individual may speak on any topic that is not on the agenda. And during the hearing tonight on any agenda item, any member of the public may speak about that item. You'll be advised of the times allotted when you are allowed to speak. If you wish to address the commission tonight during either the verbal communications time or when we consider an agenda item, please raise your hand in the Zoom app, or for those that are here, please fill out one of the yellow cards that you'll find out in the chambers. Please print your name clearly, or if you are speaking anonymously, please just write down your initials. When you speak, I ask that you come to the microphone, speak directly into it. It's important because the meeting is being recorded. Also, when you are called to speak, please state your name and your address for the record, or alternatively, if you want to, you may indicate that you are speaking anonymously. In fairness to all who wish to speak at this meeting, it is necessary for you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. So we'll begin then with verbal communications, during which members of the public may...
Through the chair. Yes. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we should do roll call before we get to verbal
I apologize. Thank you. Let's begin with roll call then, or not begin, but rewind towards roll call. As I say your name, please indicate your presence by saying here. Commissioner Barnett.
Here.
Commissioner Burnett.
Here.
Commissioner Janoff.
Here.
Commissioner Hanson.
Here.
Commissioner Mayer.
Here.
And I am here. And thank you for your reminder. Okay, then now proceeding to verbal communications, during which any member of the public may speak on any matter that is not on the agenda. Staff will announce when your 3-minute time period is up. I have no speaker cards for anybody wishing to speak on verbal communications, but notwithstanding, is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak on any matter not on the agenda? No? Okay. Mr. Paulson, anybody on Zoom?
There is not.
Very good. Then we will move to the consent calendar portion of our items agenda. That is, we have 2 items today: the approval of the minutes of our meetings on June 26 and July 10, 2024. Before the Planning Commission acts on the consent calendar, any member of the commission may request that this item be removed. Are there any such requests this evening? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Commissioner Burnett.
Yeah, I'll be happy to make the motion to approve the minutes of June 26 and July 10.
Thank you. Do I have a second on the motion? Oh. Commissioner Mayer? Thank you.
Second.
Second. I have a first, a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, then by a show of hands, may I see all those in favor of the motion? And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. Let's move then to our public hearings. Item number 3 on tonight's agenda. That is, requests for approval for modification of Plan Development Ordinance 1412, subdivision of 1 lot into 2 lots, construction of a single-family residence, and site work requiring a grading permit on property zoned OPD, located at 120 Oak Meadow Drive, APN 529-10-131, subdivision application M-20-002, Plan Development Application PD-20-002, Architecture and Site Application S-22-021. The project is categorically exempt pursuant to CEQA guidelines 15315, 15303, and 15304. Property owner is Marty and Penny McFarland. Applicants Terrence J. Seswick and J. Plett. May I have a show of hands from commissioners who have visited the site? And any disclosures, commissioners? Seeing none, Mr. Mullen, can I have the staff report, please?
Thank you, Chair, and good evening. The request before you this evening for a modification to an existing plan development overlay zone would allow subdivision of one lot into two lots and construction of a new single-family residence. The subject property is located on Oak Meadow Drive between Roberts Road and Blossom Hill Road within a planned development comprised of two-story townhomes, an office building, and a single-family residence on the subject property. The applicant's requesting approval to modify PD Ordinance 1412 to allow subdivision of the property into two lots and construct a new two-story single-family residence. Parcel A would include the existing residence, and Parcel B would be developed with the new residence. The requested modifications to the PD ordinance include performance standards affecting both parcels to allow for deviations from the underlying office zone requirements and applicable sections of the Hillside Development Standards and Guidelines. These include for Parcel A, lot coverage exceeding 40% and the existing residence exceeding FAR standards. And for Parcel B, a lot size below what's required for the zone, a proposed residence exceeding FAR standards, lot coverage exceeding 40%, reduced setbacks, and a portion of the residence located outside of the LRDA, and a driveway slope exceeding 15%. The applicants discussed the requested performance standards in their letter of justification and project description, and a full discussion of each of the requested standards is included in your staff report. All other performance standards included in the existing PD ordinance would remain in effect and would be carried forward into a modified PD, which would replace the existing. The proposed residence on Parcel B was reviewed by the town's consulting architect, who provided two recommendations, and the applicant provided a response to each recommendation, which is included in your discussion section of your staff report. When considering the immediate neighborhood, that proposed residence would not result in the largest residential structure in terms of floor area or floor area ratio, would be the largest in terms of the two single-family residents in terms of FAR, and would not be the first two-story residence. The applicant seeks a recommendation from the Planning Commission to the Town Council, who will render the final decision. If the Commission finds merit with the proposed project, staff recommends taking the actions provided on page 13 of your staff report to forward the PD, subdivision, and architecture and site applications to the Town Council with a recommendation for approval. A desk item was distributed today that includes additional public comment received after publishing the staff report and staff's response to Planning Commissioner questions. This concludes staff presentation, and we are available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mullen. Commissioners, any questions for staff on their report? Oh, yes, Ms. Barden.
Yes, thank you. And for staff,
Both of us, okay.
Sorry, yeah, please, you start.
thank you. So question, we did get a letter from a neighbor concerned about the driveway, and the driveway has been rearranged from the initial design. And was there any comment from the neighbor that had issues with the description of the driveway? And then I have a second question.
Sure, thank you for that question. After the driveway was shifted from I'm going to get my directions right, from the west side to the east side of the property, no additional comments were received.
Okay, thank you for that. And then second question, when it comes to the Valley Water, I noticed there were quite a few, there were four topics or four issues brought up. Have those all been resolved? Are there any problems from the Valley Water regarding the project?
And thank you for that question. Those comments were received today, as Valley Water owns a neighboring parcel that was included in the noticing radius. So staff has not provided any input on those, but the applicant may be able to speak to each of those tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And before I turn it over to Ms. Burnett, just one clarification. We do, I believe, have comments from the driveway neighbor who will be speaking later on. So, yes, now, Commissioner Burnett, please.
And Mr. Mullen, my question is, since the matter before us involves a PD adjustment, do the standards for variances apply or not?
Thank you for that question. The findings for the variance would not apply. What would apply are the findings required to approve a PD.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions for staff? Seeing none, I'll then open up the public portion of this hearing to public comment and ask the applicant to step forward. I notice I have 3 cards here from the applicant. from Mr. Jay Plett, from Terry Shevchek, and I noticed that the name is pronounced phonetically on the card. I apologize for my earlier mispronunciation. And Marty McFarland. You had have a total of 5 minutes collectively, so I'll encourage you to allot your time in however manner you wish. But
Thank you.
Your time may begin. Thank you.
So this project represents the ideal creation of generational housing on one parcel, and that's really the intent of SB 9. We would have changed this to an SB 9 application. However, the underlying zoning is office, so we are unable to use SB 9. So we're here to ask you to recommend to the council to modify the PD zoning to allow for this additional house. The McFarlands, Penny and Marty, want to build a house for their 2 daughters, and the land cost is ideal in this situation because it's 0. Additionally, the parcel's surrounded by infrastructure for sewer, water, PG&E. So it's a reasonable project that would take an oversized 18,000 square foot lot and put the McFarland's 3,600 square foot house onto what would become a reduced 12,000 square foot lot. And then the new house would be approximately 2,448 square feet on a nearly 6,000 square foot lot. And the new house is 3 bedrooms. In regard to the architecture or any issues with the adjoining neighbor, Marty can speak to that. And we've carefully cited this house for tree protection as well as the safest and least impact from the driveway by coming from below and going up. And we do have a situation where we have to increase the slope to 17.5%. The reason being is that we need to get up a little higher to avoid damaging the base of some spectacular oak trees. In regard to the letter from the Santa Clara Valley Water District, we've been processing this application for 2 years. I'm a little shocked that they just responded today. One of their comments, the fact that this is within the Lenaham Dam failure zone, there's really nothing that we can do about that. They wanted that potentially stated in our environmental review document, but we're categorically exempt, so it's kind of a moot point. But the Lenaham Dam thing is the situation where the post office is going to end up down at Netflix, and that affects more than just us. So it's really nothing we can do about that in terms of the environmental document. They had another comment about the setbacks from streams that are normally required by the town. The construction for this site, the house itself, is 100 feet away from the top of bank, so that comment really isn't of any pertinence. And then, Mr. Mullen, was there something else in their letter? Nope. Okay, so that's that. And there was a comment about potentially road maintenance participation. Since Oak Meadow Drive is a private road, it runs from Blossom Hill Road out to Roberts. I don't think it would be unreasonable for us to agree to some kind of a condition to participate in road maintenance. And in fact, the McFarlands already do participate in road maintenance costs. They were removed from the Homeowners Association many years ago as far as participating in typical activities of the Homeowners Association because their house is a bit different. It's a historic residence that was sort of built around with townhouses that are on narrow lots that also have adjoining walls, and some of the lots are Z lots. So at some point it was agreed that they didn't belong in the homeowners association for maintenance and other reasons. That's all I have. Happy to answer some questions.
Thank you so much. And actually, before you sit down, I noticed that pretty much all the 5 minutes was taken during your presentation. We only have one agenda item tonight, so it's my predisposition to allow a little bit of extra time for if the homeowner wishes to speak. Do you have anything additional to add, or the architect? I'll allow. Was 1 minute satisfactory? Okay. If you would approach the podium and state your name for the record, please.
Marty McFarland, and this is my wife Penny. We've lived in the property for over 32 years, and when we moved in, our daughters were 2 and 4 years old. Today, our youngest daughter's 34. She's a special education teacher locally, and we're super proud of her for what she's doing for a living. At the same time, teachers don't make a lot of money, so we're super excited about this project and the opportunity to provide them a lot so that they can build a house. Many of their friends are having to move out of the area because of the high cost of housing. So, we're excited about this. They're currently in an apartment. My daughter and her husband both went to Los Gatos High School. So we look forward to your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, before you sit down, commissioners, do we have any questions for either a homeowner or the designer for this project? Seeing none, again, thank you for your time. I will now open the public portion of item number 3 to receive comments from those other than the applicant. I have 2 cards. Let's begin with Paul, and what name is pronounced? I'm sorry? Sir, if you will please approach, and you'll have 3 minutes in which to speak. Thank you so much.
Paul Veith, I live across from the McFarlands. I live there. My wife and I have lived there since 1997. And I'm one of the 3 board members for the Regency Court HOA. And our board has met on this subject, and I represent the 10 homeowners of the Regency Court HOA. This is the CC&Rs for the Regency Court HOA, and included in your package that you received from Mr. Platt, the architect, Mr. Pleat, is in 1985, the lot was removed from the HOA, except for the purposes of contributing to the Regency Court Owners Association for road maintenance, which is 12%. And pursuant to that agreement, which Mr. McFarland is a signature to, pursuant to the agreement, Regency Court Owners Association retains the right of architectural control approval over that lot. So this is, as a town lawyer knows, per Sterling Davis, the CC&Rs are an equitable servitude and go along with the deed. So, which means that, and there are clear guidelines in the CC&Rs on architectural approval for anything affected by the CC&Rs and the bylaws. So that process has not occurred, although Marty did an excellent job of sending out an email to everybody. There was never an attempt to review this with the architectural committee or the HOA, and there's a very defined process in the CC&Rs, which Marty knows about, and those were not followed. Back in October of 2021, when Marty asked if we would give up 2 of our 7 spots, community parking spots, so that he could put a driveway on the other side, we communicated to him that no, it had to be on the other side, and he objected to that, but we told him that the HOA would not approve that. We also, at that time, brought up removal of no oak trees, which he has addressed, but we also expressed that we didn't want to change a change to the view we currently see. We don't want to see a house in the immediate view or having windows facing our home. And that was made clear in an email back to Marty, back in as early as 2021. Can I request more time since I'm speaking for 10 homeowners and
I think it's equitable. Since I've given the applicant an additional 1 minute, I'll present that same 1 minute to you, sir.
okay. So the issues that we've, there's a number of issues, and I can't do it in a minute, but I'll try. One is the third floor. On the third floor, there's an office and a bedroom, and we would prefer that the lot was bigger and that instead of 3 floors, it was 2 floors with the master bedroom on the main floor so that it wasn't looking out into our bedrooms. At a minimum, those windows should absolutely be reviewed. Our architectural committee did the same thing for one of our neighbors, subject to the same CC&Rs, who wanted to put in windows in their office, and we told him no. He could put a skylight in, but for privacy reasons, we wouldn't allow windows. Now, they're privacy windows, but those can be easily changed when the house is sold, and we don't want somebody sitting in an office looking at our property. And I'm sorry, but there's 4 or 5 other key things that the other 10 homeowners would like to express here.
No, I appreciate it, but our time is limited. So thank you so much for those comments. I encourage you, if there's anything further, you can put them in writing to town. So thank you so much. I do have another member of the public here who is ready to speak. Desiree Hedberg, if you would approach the podium, please. Thank you so much.
Can I make just one other comment, please?
Sir,
Please?
10 seconds or less.
The other major one is the setback from the property line is 6.5 feet, and we would like that to be further back from the property line.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Before you sit down, sir, I have commissioners, any questions for this? I'm sorry, before you sit down, before you sit down, commissioners may have questions for you. Any commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Burnett.
Would you allow me to see the CC&Rs? Because I represented many homeowners associations, and I'm trying to figure out whether I would need to recuse myself. You didn't show a record.
Can you,
Yeah. Okay, I
the meeting is recorded, so all the comments need to be made at the podium so they can be captured.
I would. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. I did not draw.
And I'm sorry, if you could repeat that comment, just so it's in our record, please.
I'm sorry.
Your exchange with Commissioner Barnett, if you could just repeat it for
that in the recitals for the CC&R, in your package is a page from the recitals that was included by the architect that mentions that the homeowners association retains the right of architectural control.
Very good. Thank you so much. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for the app? No. Seeing none. Thank you, sir. You may sit down. And now, I'm sorry, Ms. Hedberg, if you would approach and state your name for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Desiree Hedberg. I'm a small business owner of Affirming Relationship Therapy. I'm directly adjacent to the property that's being considered for dual parcelship and construction. And my business is focused on creating a community of therapists that work with people on mental health issues. And my concern, which I'm sure you've jumped to right away, is that the noise factor with the construction could be considerably significant and impact my business in a very negative way. And I'm not saying I'm not open to hearing more and understanding more about the auditory impacts of this project. However, of course, you know, I value the silence and the quiet of our area and the beauty of our area. And the fact that one of the buildings looks like it's going to be looking directly down on me, that's also HIPAA violations to consider on my part, which I could shade the glass, right, to keep my people, I identities confidential. However, I don't know how much this is going to be an auditory and visual impact on my business. And of course, I have the option of moving my business, but that is not my goal. I love this space. I love this area. It's very quiet. It's beautiful, majestic, and not one person that I see doesn't comment on how relaxing and quiet it is. And I'm just expressing a fear and maybe asking a question of like, what do you perceive the auditory impact might be? Are there piers going in, or are they I-beams where it's a significantly loud noise? And I know that that will impact other therapists, chiropractors, and dentists in the area.
Thank you for those comments. Commissioners, any questions for this witness? No, thank you. You may sit down. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Janoff.
Have you expressed your concerns to the applicant or the applicant's architect?
No, I haven't. I just received notice last month with the placard that was out in front of the wall. Thank you for that. And I also got a mailer, so I decided to come and express those concerns here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? No, thank you. You may sit down.
Thank you.
I will invite the applicant now. Again, you'll have a total of 3 minutes to speak, so you can assign any representative or combination of representatives you wish. I would encourage you, at least from my own mind, to address the CC&R and privacy issues.
It's
Thank you.
great to know that we have a CC&R expert on the Planning Commission. But obviously, if we've overlooked the formal HOA architectural committee review of the plans, we'll have to complete that. So that's our comment relative to that issue. Jay can speak to the window placement and the privacy issues across the street with the neighbor.
The window that faces the townhomes is a bedroom window, and it's not a living room. It's not a place where people will be up there partying and looking down on everybody. Not to mention the fact that the townhouses look back at the house anyway. They both have windows. The house was mentioned a 6.5 foot setback. It is 6.5, but then there's 20 feet of parking, and then there's a road for the townhomes. So they're probably 30 feet away, our home, and those windows 30 feet away from anybody. The existing McFarland's home is just as close, if not closer, to the street, and there's townhomes that are almost bordering right on the property line, or the road, I should say. And that was taken off the GSI maps. So, and that's documented on our sheet. I believe it's A1.1. You can see the site plan, how our house sits, how McFarland's at 120 sit, and how the townhomes are laid out. And some of the townhomes are like right there on the edge of the road. As far as, you know, any windows go, I guess let's talk about noise. Yeah, there's noise when anything is built. But no, we don't anticipate any driving of piles or anything like that that are going to make excessive noise. Just typical construction like goes around town all day long, road repair, things like that.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, any questions? Any further questions? Yes, Commissioner Hanson.
The consulting architect had some comments on the architecture of the house, or the design rather, but and you had contested his points. So I haven't seen this very often, but did our consulting architect get it wrong? Because you countered all of his points.
You mean as far as some of the recommendations from? Yeah. Yeah, I just didn't agree with it. The driveway floats. It floats over the tree roots in order to preserve the tree. And, stone doesn't float, right? It's not something that it works that way. So it's non-appropriate use of materials, in my opinion. I think we did comply with some of what Larry recommended, but not all of it. There was one thing I was going to say too. Oh, did you get my little handout there that explains the elevation from, now that view is from the red line at the base is street level of the townhomes. And you can see from the street level, the house is only 22 feet tall. The eaves are at 15 feet. It's very modest house. McFarland's house towers over this house, the existing house at 120. The townhomes have more of a presence than what this elevation is going to have to the people that live in that development.
Thank you for the clarification and the sheet before us. So to the concern with the homeowners association that they'd be looking at a 3-story structure, would it be your contention that they're essentially looking at a 1-story structure from the elevation that faces the townhomes?
You know, this is the first that's come up about HOA. I have no knowledge about it. Terry would know more than me. But I can tell you this, that at the inception of this house, Marty told me, he said, Jay, I don't want to lose any trees. We love our trees. They have a very expensive arborist that takes care of their trees. So the first thing I did is I got an arborist out there and I said, how close can we get to this tree? How close can we get to this tree? How close can we get to this tree? That's what created the setbacks for the building, not an arbitrary distance from a property line.
So let me just interrupt you. I'm not concerned so much with the setbacks. My concern was with the statement that they prefer it to be a 2-story rather than a 3-story structure, which implies that the homeowners association would be looking at a 3-story elevation. And what I'm looking at here looks like the 3-story steps down behind the elevation.
Yes. That's what you would see from the HOA, the homeowners there.
So this elevation, which is the west elevation, is what they would be seeing. They would not be seeing the 3 stories as it was.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, commissioners, for the applicant? No, seeing none. And I'm sorry, Mr. Paulson, I skipped over. Do we have any public comments on Zoom?
Thank you, Chair. For the individual on Zoom, if you wish to speak on this item as a member of the public, please raise your hand. I don't see a hand raised.
All right, thank you. Then I will close public portion of agenda item number 3 and then open the matter to commission discussion. Commissioners, I incite and request your comments, thoughts, or if appropriate, a motion. Commissioner Hanson.
While it certainly isn't not according to procedure, I found it pretty troubling to be this far in the process and then have the CCNR issue come up. So I'm not, while there was some small amount of time put into the a couple of the issues that were brought up by the head of the homeowners association, I'm not sure that this can be approved at this point without that process being completed. So I just wondered if other commissioners had that, or if our town attorney had some comments, because it seemed like they do have jurisdiction over this project.
Yeah, I do have thoughts. So as you know, CCNRs are private agreements between private parties. They're not typically enforced by public entities. But that said, it would be concerning for the town to approve a entitlement that was in conflict with a private agreement. So the most conservative course of action would be for me to review the CCNRs to confirm that they read as they were described, and then to get back to the Planning Commission with a recommendation.
And out of curiosity, Council, how long would it take for you to review those CCNRs to make that determination?
I expect that I could have that completed in time for the next Planning Commission meeting.
Very good. Yes, Commissioner Barnett.
The Homeowners Association representative indicated that the CCNRs require approvals, and that the board hasn't presented an agenda item within the Homeowners Association requirements, and has not made a decision for architectural approval, or, I'm sorry, on this, if the CCNRs also relate to the road, that certainly needs to be explored. So I'm in agreement with Commissioner Hanson that the best, from my perspective, the best option for us is to continue the hearing.
Thank you. Other commissioners? Commissioner Janoff.
Question for town attorney on a different issue. We heard from our small business owner that there's a concern about privacy with respect to their patients or clients and visual access to identity. The assertion was made that that would violate HIPAA. I'd like the town's opinion on that issue.
In my opinion, that would not violate HIPAA because HIPAA relates to the disclosure of private medical information and documentation, and this would not be that situation.
Thank you. One other question, if I may.
Yes, please.
Also, for the town attorney, the HOA indicated that they were concerned with the loss of views. It's the Planning Commission's understanding that views are not protected in Los Gatos, and it's unfortunate as that might be. And I'd like the town attorney to weigh in on that.
Yes, I can confirm that the town does not currently have a view ordinance. One way that views can be protected is for property owners to purchase private view easements.
Thank you for that. So I just wanted to make a comment. Should the matter be continued tonight in order for the homeowners association and the applicant to have conversation regarding the obligations of the homeowners association agreement, please understand what is and is not within the purview of the homeowners association to control.
Thank you for those comments. Commissioners, other questions? So if I'm reading the room correctly, it seems like we're all in agreement that we're missing some major pieces to this puzzle, and perhaps a continuance to allow those pieces to be put into place would be beneficial to all. My question is, and it's perhaps a question to the applicant, how long do you think you would need to review these open issues and come back to us with the answers that we think we need?
I think it's a function of how quickly the Architectural Review Committee can be assembled.
Very good. Then I'll open the public portion again. One more, if I can ask you a question, sir, Mr. Veith. How long do you think it would take for the architectural review process to go forward, assuming that was required after town council requires that? Oh, I'm sorry. If you could approach the, yeah.
It would not take long, but I would prefer first, before that happens, to meet with town attorney to discuss whether Sterling Davis impacts this, and those statutes are relevant here. Okay. So that I know to address Commissioner Janoff's comment about the view, because the CCNRs are under Sterling Davis, and they clearly give us control over the views if they're covered under the Sterling Davis statute. So I would like to review that with the attorney first. Then once that's done, the committee can be assembled, very quickly within a week.
Okay.
My wife, Laura, is the chairman of the architectural committee.
Perfect.
And I don't know.
Okay, no, I think that answers my question. Thank you so much. I'll close the public portion of the hearing again, and then I will ask town council. I'm not committing you to meet with anybody or discuss anything with anybody, but I want to set enough time before we reschedule this for hearing. Is a month's time adequate, do you think, to make a determination in the first instance whether the CCNRs are in play here, and then to allow perhaps a CCNR review? And I'm sorry, Ms. Armour, I think you wish to speak as well. So I'll, in any order.
If I may jump in, because there was also discussion of review by the HOA of the architectural design, and if that is truly a portion of their required process, that Planning Commission would like to see completed. We would probably recommend it be continued to a date uncertain so that they have time to do that and then would renotice so that there is time, because we don't know whether that would result in changes to the architectural style or design.
Thank you. That sounds like sound advice to me. Commissioners, any further comments? Otherwise, yes, Commissioner Hanson.
I wanted to bring up one other thing with the town attorney, and it was brought up by our business owner commenter, and it was about noise from construction. And although the architect did address it to a certain extent, it is my understanding, having been on the commission for a while, that we don't normally factor that into approvals of projects. Construction is part of the process, and that there's usually hours set for construction, but I don't think that's a reason not to do a project.
That's correct. What the town's purview is whether the proposed project conforms to the town standards. The town does have requirements for when construction can occur. And so the town would confirm that the applicant, if this project were approved, the town would confirm that the applicant was conforming to those requirements.
Thank you.
Thank you. One final question for staff. In the event we wish to make a motion to continue until an uncertain date, do we have to state the grounds for the motion? That is, that we want certain findings made, or just ask for the continuance?
There's no requirement to state it, but I do think it'll be helpful for the minutes. Looking back, it'll help explain why it was continued.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, any further questions or comments? With that being said, I will make then the motion to continue the matter to a date uncertain for agenda item number 3, that is the request for approval for modification of Plan Development Ordinance 1412, subdivision of one lot into 2 lots, construction of a single-family residence, and site work requiring a grading permit on property zoned OPD located at 120 Oak Meadow Drive, with a special emphasis on resolving any open issues presented by the CCNRs and privacy concerns of neighbors. Commissioners, any further additions to the motion? See none, do I have a second? Commissioner Janoff.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Discussion? Then by a show of hands, can I see all those in favor of the motion? And the motion carries unanimously. Thank you all. Very good. Then let's move then from our public agenda items to a report from the Community Development Department. Ms. Armour, do you have anything to report?
Thank you. There are no actions to report, but given the results of this meeting, the Planning Commission meeting of August 14th will be canceled due to lack of items. And as a result, that means that this is the final meeting, both for Commissioner Janoff and Commissioner Mayer, and we want, from the staff, we would particularly like to thank you both for all of the work that you've put in to contributing to Planning Commission and all the other committees and commissions you have participated in over the years. Thank you.
Hear, hear. Thank you. Thank you. This takes us then to subcommittee reports. In addition to their service on the Planning Commission, each commissioner serves on a subcommittee of the Planning Commission. Commissioner, since our last meeting, have there been any committee meetings? Yes, Commissioner Burnett.
Yes, we had a planning commission. We had a historic preservation committee meeting today. And it was an extra long one because we skipped one. So it was a good meeting and everything was resolved.
Thank you so much for that report. Then we'll move to the final section of our meeting, that is Commission Matters. And tonight I have the task, which gives me great pleasure and great sadness. As you all know, working on the Planning Commission is a volunteer activity. That is, that while we receive no compensation, we do receive something even greater. And that is the opportunity to work with individuals who are smart, personable, and dedicated to the town's mission. Unfortunately, while I believe that we have here assembled a team of uniquely talented individuals, it is inevitable that all things must change. As a result, it's my sad duty to report that this will be the final Planning Commission meeting for Commissioners Janoff and Commissioner Mayer. Commissioner Janoff is, I believe, our longest serving commissioner, serving some 8 years. Is that right? Slight, not intended. She has served on Planning Commission, Historic Preservation Committee, where we first met, General Plan Committee, and Housing Element Advisory Board. Commissioner Janoff has dedicated her time, resources, insight, and significant gifts to this commission and to the town's various committees, all to the benefit of the town of Los Gatos. Because of her leadership, she has made the Planning Commission a valuable part of this town's governing structure, and I believe she has made this town a much, much better place to work and to live. So thank you, Commissioner Janoff, for your services, years of services, and for all you've done for us. Thank you so much. Commissioner Mayer is one of our newer planning commissioners, but even during his tenure, he's made a significant impact upon this commission. Before joining Planning Commission and the Historic Preservation Committee, Commissioner Mayer worked on the General Plan Committee and Housing Element Advisory Board as they worked tirelessly in creating the town's new general plan documents. Commissioner Mayer's insight and experience as an architect have been invaluable on these committees and to this commission, and his absence will be a loss to us all. So, Commissioner Mayer, thank you for all your service and best of luck in all your future endeavors. And finally, I'm sorry, Commissioner Hanson?
I just wanted to say something really quick, and thank you for all the wonderful comments you made. I didn't know about Commissioner Mayer, so I did have a word to say about him as well. But I did want to say that my hearty thanks to my fellow Commissioner Janoff, who has been my partner in crime through years and years and years of Planning Commission and the general plan update. She was the vice chair and I was the chair, and also the housing element. And we have been through so much together, and I've always been in awe of Commissioner Janoff's ability to always say the right thing in every meeting and bring up the important points that we should consider. And I know your presence here on the commission will be very much missed, and I will also miss you as my friend. But hopefully I will see you outside of this. And Commissioner Mayer, I was really excited when you joined the Planning Commission, and I think you're one of the brightest planning commissioners we've had, and your comments on architecture and have really given us some insight in the commission. And I don't know why you're leaving, but I hope that whatever it is going to be a better place for you, and we will miss your presence and insight in the commission.
Thank you. And before we then conclude, we have one more announcement to make. In addition to our two commissioners, we're also losing one of this town's most valuable resources, Ms. Jennifer Armour. Jennifer has served as the town's planning manager for 9 years.
Well, the last 3 years. I've been with the town for 9.
Town with 9 years, planning manager for 9. And as I'm sure we'll all agree, these past 9 years have been some of the most interesting that this town has ever seen. Nevertheless, Ms. Armour has led this town, its staff, and this commission through these difficult and often tricky waters. Ms. Armour's insights, experience, patience, and hard work have benefited all Los Gatans, whether they know it or not. So Jennifer, on behalf of the entire Planning Commission and the town of Los Gatos, thank you for your service and our best wishes in all your future endeavors. And so with that, I'll say thank you to our departing friends, and thank you to those that remain, and I will adjourn this meeting.